Now, it was announced today that one of the founders of the highly influential doctrine of multiculturalism has died. Stuart Hall, a Jamaican immigrant who became an Open University professor rather than an impressive speaker, and a hero to readers of The Guardian and New Left Review, was 82. Though the philosophy trains its attraction for many, has lost its attraction for many, it's fallen out of fashion in the last few years. In a moment, I'll be discussing his life and legacy, but before that, here are a few thoughts shared by Stuart Hall over the years, in his own words, accompanied by his beloved jazz.
Hello. The program that you're about to see is about national identity, and the importance of national identities in giving us a sense of who we are and where we belong.
Britishness was coded racially and in colour terms. Everybody knew to be British meant to be white. You didn't have to say white British, because that's what it meant. Well, I don't think it's true. I think you can be who you are. You can be black. You can have come to Englishness or Britishness in the 90s by a very different route from the Caribbean, via the colonial relation, on the Empire Windrush, through migration into the inner city. This is a British history.
We are here to stay. We are in the center of the creative and cultural life of the society, who have created in their myriad art forms, from writing, poetry, dance, music, right through to rap, created a new culture, a culture which in its variety and power astonishes now the eyes of young white people in the society, which is a mark, a sign that they are the people of the future. And that needs organization and funding. And we have to go out and get it, because it's ours.
Well, with us now is John Acumfra, an artist and filmmaker who knew Stuart Hall for more than 20 years and recently made a documentary about his life. How significant a figure do you think he was?
Very significant. I mean, I think Stuart was really the last of that great group of intellectuals who came of age in the 50s, who fundamentally altered what we thought culture and identity and politics would be, you know, in the 60s and 70s and so on. I'm talking about people like Raymond Williams and Richard Hoggart. He was in that class, that league, so hugely significant.
Specifically on multiculturalism, he's called the godfather of multiculturalism in many ways.
Yes.
Can you explain what he was about there?
Well, I mean, this is not a term he would have approved of. But I think in some ways it applies to him, because one of the abiding themes of Stuart Hall's work was the attempt to try and speak to the extent, or speak about the extent to which a multicultural state, both of being and identity, if you like, for want of a better word, is something that is uniquely British. For Stuart Hall, multiculturalism was his attempt to try and talk about a 400-500-year history of Britain's engagement with several parts of the world, and to stress that the parts of the world that Britain went to, it made an impression on the people there, and they, having come here, are bringing not just something from outside, but something from the periphery of British life. So in that sense, I would say he is a godfather of multiculturalism, because it's a theme in his work that he returned to again and again and again, which is that the periphery is the same as the centre in some ways.
What was he like as a person?
He was absolutely the most generous person I've ever come across. I mean, I was 20-something, I was making my first film. We were in trouble. We called him. He had no reason to come. He didn't know us from Adam. And he came. He spent weeks talking to us about the film, the problems with it, how we could put it right. And he did this for countless numbers of people. I mean, he was incredibly open and accessible to thousands of people across the world. So I'm no exception in this regard. you know, and I've been taking the films I've made on him across the world, and literally everywhere I go. I've just come back from India. People will come to me and say, how is Stuart? Oh, he did this on my thesis, or he worked on this with my dissertation. I mean, you know, he was the most open figure I've ever come across. Very generous, principled to the core, in the sense that he has certain core values and principles that he would not move from. But beyond that, everything was pretty okay.
John Comfort, thank you.